The thing about insulting a genocidal alien warlord is that you really should plan your exit strategy first. I didn't. But in my defense, I was drunk on synthesized whiskey and running on 3 hours of sleep when I told Azra, the Deathbringer, that her combat stance looked like a constipated flamingo trying to do yoga. The entire Aurelius hub fell silent. You could have heard a pin drop in zero gravity, which, let me tell you, is physically impossible, but somehow felt accurate in that moment. 300 different species, packed into the Grand Tribunal chamber, like sardines in a cosmic tin can. All turned to stare at me. Some had eyes. Some had optical sensors. The Galathi delegate had what I can only describe as pulsating light sacs. But they all conveyed the same message. You're dead, human. My name is Jack Turner, and at that precise moment, I was supposed to be fixing the atmospheric processors in maintenance shaft B12. Not standing in the middle of the galaxy's most important political arena, facing down a 7-foot-tall killing machine wrapped in bioarmor that looked like it was designed by H.R. Geiger after a particularly bad acid trip. Let me back up a bit. The Galactic Concordium had been around for roughly 10,000 years before humanity stumbled onto the galactic stage, like a drunk teenager crashing a faculty wine tasting. We'd been members for all of 30 years, which in cosmic terms made us the equivalent of a fetus with opinions. The older races treated us accordingly, with a mixture of condescension and barely concealed annoyance. I'd been on Aurelius Hub for 6 months, keeping my head down and my mouth shut, which was a personal record, after getting dishonorably discharged from Earth's Deep Space Navy for what they called catastrophic insubordination, and what I called telling the Admiral exactly where he could shove his battle plans. I was lucky to get work anywhere. The hub needed human technicians who understood Earth-manufactured systems, and I needed to be somewhere that didn't extradite back to Earth. The morning had started normally enough. I'd woken up in my closet-sized quarters, stumbled to the communal refresher, where a Zorthian had somehow managed to shed all over the sonic shower, grabbed a cup of something that claimed to be coffee, but tasted like burnt rubber mixed with existential dread, and headed to work. My supervisor, a Calarian named Supervisor Threx, who had all the personality of wet cardboard and twice the charm, had sent me to fix a climate control malfunction in the Grand Tribunal. Simple job. Get in, recalibrate the sensors, get out before the afternoon session started. Except I'd gotten lost. The hub was designed by committee, which meant it had the architectural coherence of a fever dream. Corridors that should connect didn't. Elevators that went sideways for no apparent reason. A section on Deck 4 that was technically classified as its own sovereign nation due to a bureaucratic error that nobody wanted to fix. By the time I found the right maintenance panel, the tribunal session was already in full swing. I should have left. Should have come back later. Should have done literally anything other than what I did next. But then, I heard them talking about Earth. Ambassador Corrin of the Zorth hegemony was in rare form, his scales practically gleaming with smugness as he addressed the assembly. The humans pose no significant threat to galactic stability, he was saying, his forked tongue flicking out between words. They are children playing with tools they barely understand. Their greatest military achievement was nearly destroying their own planet 3 times before achieving faster-than-light travel. A ripple of amusement went through the crowd. I gritted my teeth and focused on the control panel. Not my circus. Not my monkeys. Perhaps, Corrin continued, we should consider revoking their provisional membership until they demonstrate the maturity necessary for true participation in galactic affairs. That's when she stood up. Azra, the Deathbringer, the scourge of 7 systems, the last of the Karjal warrior caste, and personally responsible for more deaths than most plagues. She moved with the kind of fluid grace that made you realize she could kill you 17 different ways before you finished blinking. And that was if she was feeling lazy. I agree with the Zorth, she said, her voice like grinding granite. The humans are weak. I have personally eliminated 8,432 of them during the Kepler campaign. They died screaming. They died begging. They died without honor. The Kepler campaign. My hands stopped moving on the control panel. Mom and Dad had been on Kepler 442b when the Karjul hit. Civilian contractors, there to help build infrastructure. They never stood a chance. Their weakness, Azra continued, makes them unworthy of consideration. They break too easily. Their minds fragment under the slightest pressure. Even their humor, which they claim as their greatest strength, is nothing but the bleating of prey trying to distract predators. Something in me snapped. Maybe it was the casual way she dismissed 8,000 lives. Maybe it was the sleepless nights. Maybe it was the whiskey I'd definitely not been drinking on duty. But before my brain could catch up with my mouth, I was stepping out from behind the maintenance panel. "I'm sorry," I said, loud enough for the entire chamber to hear. But did someone order a side of hypocrisy with their genocide? Or does that come standard with the Karjul Happy Meal? Every head, tentacle, and sensory appendage in the room swiveled toward me. The security guards, two Proximan warriors whose idea of conflict resolution involved plasma rifles and aggressive negotiations, started moving in my direction. But I was already committed. When you're about to die anyway, you might as well make it memorable. "Because it's fascinating," I continued, walking down the aisle toward the center of the chamber. Listening to a walking weapons platform lecture, anyone about weakness. Tell me, Azra, when was the last time you did something that didn't involve turning organic matter into past tense? Can you even tie your own boots without murdering them first? Or do you have people for that? Sorry, had people for that. I heard you killed them too. Azra turned to face me fully. Up close. She was even more terrifying. Her bio-armor rippled like liquid metal, and her 4 eyes, arranged in a diamond pattern on her face, all focused on me with laser intensity. She could have killed me with her pinky finger. Hell, she could have killed me with her exhale. "You dare address me, human?" "Oh, I'm sorry. Do I need to fill out a form first?" "Let me guess. It's probably in triplicate. Requires 17 different stamps. And the fee is paid in the blood of innocence. Very on brand for you." Someone in the crowd gasped. Or maybe it was more of a wheeze. The Galathi don't really have lungs. "But here's what really gets me," I said, warming to my theme, because if you're going to commit suicide by alien, you might as well enjoy it. You stand there talking about honor and strength, but when was the last time you fought someone who could actually fight back? The Kepler colonists were civilians, families, children. Wow, such warrior. Much honor. Very impressive. I struck a pose that was supposed to mimic her combat stance, but probably looked more like I was having a stroke. Look at me. I'm Azra the Deathbringer. I wake up in the morning and punch breakfast because eating is weakness. I brush my teeth with the bones of my enemies because dental hygiene is for losers. I can't watch romantic comedies because I keep trying to kill the meet-cute. A sound echoed through the chamber. It started low, like grinding gears, then built into something louder. It took me a moment to realize what it was. Azra was laughing, not chuckling, not smirking. Full-bodied, genuine laughter that made her bio-armor ripple in waves. She threw her head back, all 4 eyes closing as she laughed harder than I'd ever seen any being laugh. The entire tribunal stared in shock. According to the historical records I'd skimmed once while bored, no one had ever seen a Karjul laugh. They didn't think it was biologically possible. "You," she said, still chuckling, pointing at me with one armored finger. "You are either the bravest or the stupidest human I have ever encountered." "Por qué no los dos?" I replied, because apparently my mouth had completely disconnected from my survival instincts. She laughed again. "You mock me to my face. You insult my honor, my strength, my very existence. And you do it with—" She paused, searching for the word. "Creativity. I prefer the term artisanal insulting. It's locally sourced, organic, and gluten-free." "I should kill you," she said. But there was something different in her voice now. Something that hadn't been there before. Curiosity. Maybe. "I have killed for far less. I once destroyed an entire space station because someone suggested my armor made me look bulky." "Did it, though?" "Yes," she admitted. "But that is not the point." The tribunal was frozen, watching this exchange like it was the universe's strangest tennis match. Ambassador Corrin looked like someone had replaced his blood with vinegar. The human representative, Ambassador Sarah Reeves, appeared to be having a small stroke. "You know what your problem is," I said. Because apparently I had a death wish that came with a side of commentary. "You're boring. You're a one-note symphony in murder minor. Your entire personality is, I kill things." That's not intimidating. It's just sad. It's like meeting someone whose only hobby is collecting different types of dirt. Sure, it's technically a hobby, but good luck making friends at parties. "I do not attend parties," Azra said. "Shocking. I'm sure your invitation just got lost in the mail. 8,432 times. She moved then, faster than my eyes could track. One moment she was 20 feet away. The next, she was directly in front of me, close enough that I could see my reflection in her bio-armor. This was it. This was how I died. At least it would be quick. But instead of ripping my spine out through my nose, she did something unexpected. She sat down. Right there on the tribunal floor, cross-legged like a child at story time, and looked up at me with those 4 unsettling eyes. "Continue," she said. "Continue what? Insulting me. It has been centuries since anyone has dared speak to me this way. It is refreshing." "You want me to keep roasting you?" "Roasting." She rolled the word around like she was tasting it. "Yes. Roast me. Human." I looked around the chamber. Every single being present was staring at us with expressions ranging from horror to fascination. This was officially the weirdest day of my life, and I once had to explain to a customs officer why I was traveling with 40 pounds of earth cheese. "Okay," I said, sitting down across from her, "because when death incarnate asks you to insult them, you might as well get comfortable. Let's talk about your name, the Deathbringer. Did you workshop that? Was there a focus group? Because it sounds like something a 13-year-old would name their character in a video game after their mom said they couldn't use swear words." She tilted her head. "What would you suggest?" "I don't know. Something with personality. Azra, who always returns her library books late. Azra, scared of space spiders. Azra, who cries during the sad parts of movies but pretends it's allergies. I do not cry. Everyone cries. Even tough warrior types. Let me guess. You've got some tragic backstory. Parents killed by raiders, sworn vengeance against the universe. Dedicated your life to becoming an unstoppable killing machine because feeling emotions is harder than murder." Her expression changed, just slightly. If I hadn't been sitting so close, I would have missed it. "Oh my God, I'm right. Aren't I? You're literally a walking tragic backstory. That's adorable. Do you brood in dark corners and practice your serious face in mirrors? Please tell me you have a journal where you write poetry about darkness and destiny." "I do not write poetry." "But you do brood." She was quiet for a moment. "Sometimes. I knew it. You're not a warrior. You're a theater kid with a body count." She laughed again, softer this time. Around us, the tribunal seemed to be remembering they had actual business to conduct. Ambassador Corrin was making frantic gestures at the security guards, who looked deeply confused about whether they should intervene when one of the galaxy's deadliest killers was having what appeared to be a friendly chat with a maintenance worker. "You are very strange. Human," Azra said. "Jack. My name is Jack Turner." "Jack Turner," she repeated, like she was memorizing it. "You have insulted me, mocked me, and ridiculed everything I am." "Yeah, sorry about that. I get cranky when people casually mention murdering my species." "And yet," she continued, "you have made me laugh. I have not laughed in 437 years. That's very specific. I have an excellent memory. I remember every face, every name, every life I have taken." Her voice dropped to something almost like a whisper. "Every single one." The weight of that statement hung between us. For a moment, I saw something behind those 4 alien eyes. Not the infamous Deathbringer, but something else. Something that looked almost tired. "That's rough," I said. "Because what else do you say to that?" "Yes," she agreed. "It is rough." Ambassador Reeves finally found her voice. "Mr. Turner, please return to your duties immediately. You're disrupting official proceedings." I stood up, brushing imaginary dust off my maintenance coveralls. "Right. Sorry about that. I've got atmospheric processors to fix. Can't have you all suffocating while you debate whether humans deserve basic rights." I turned to leave, but Azra's voice stopped me. "Jack Turner," I looked back. "I will see you again." It wasn't a threat. It wasn't a promise. It was just a statement of fact, delivered with the same certainty someone might use to say the sun would rise tomorrow. "Can't wait," I said, and meant it about as much as I meant my promise to quit drinking. I made it about 3 steps before Ambassador Corrin found his voice. "This is unprecedented. That humans should be arrested. He disrupted official proceedings and insulted a recognized diplomatic entity." "He made her laugh," someone said. "I think it was the Proximan Guard, but I wasn't sure." No one has ever made a Karjul laugh. That's not the point. But I was already walking away, my hands shaking in my pockets where no one could see them. I just insulted one of the galaxy's deadliest beings to her face and lived. Not only lived, but apparently made a friend enemy, whatever Azra was now. It was complicated. "Tali," I muttered to my personal AI through my earpiece. "Please, tell me you recorded all of that." "Every terrifying second," my AI responded, in her characteristically dry tone. "Would you like me to start composing your obituary now, or should I wait until she actually kills you? Ye of little faith. I have calculated the odds of your survival. Would you like to hear them?" "Absolutely not." I made it back to maintenance shaft B12, and finally fixed the damn atmospheric processor. The whole thing took 10 minutes, which meant I'd risked my life for a 10-minute job. Typical. But as I was closing up the panel, I heard footsteps. Not the click of boots or the shuffle of various alien locomotion methods, but something heavier, more deliberate. I turned around to find Azra standing in the maintenance corridor, having to duck slightly to fit her 7-foot frame in the human-sized passage. "Hi," I said, because my eloquence knew no bounds. "Your insults," she said without preamble. "They were creative." "Thanks, I think. Most who speak to me either grovel in fear or attempt to prove their strength through combat. You did neither. You made jokes. It's kind of my thing. That and apparently having no survival instinct." She moved closer, and I resisted the urge to back up. "You spoke of my victims. Your parents were among them." It wasn't a question. I don't know how she knew, but she did. "Yeah," I said, my throat suddenly tight. "They were... and yet you made jokes. Would you prefer if I tried to kill you because I've got to tell you? That would go very badly for me." "Yes," she agreed. "It would. But that is not why I am here. Then why are you here? She tilted her head, considering. I am unsure. You are unusual. When you spoke, when you mocked me, something happened. Something I have not felt in a very long time. Indigestion, amusement, interest, a desire to hear more. You hunted me down because you want me to keep insulting you. Perhaps. Or perhaps I simply wish to understand why a human who should hate me chose humor over hatred. I leaned against the wall, suddenly exhausted. Because hatred is heavy, and I'm tired of carrying it. Making fun of you, that's easy. That's light. Hating you would mean thinking about you all the time. And frankly, you're not that interesting. You just said I was not that interesting after specifically making me interesting enough to mock for 10 minutes. Yeah, well, I contain multitudes. She made that grinding gear sound again. Laughter. You are a contradiction, Jack Turner. And you're a genocidal warrior who wants someone to roast her like a comedy special. We're all walking contradictions here. She reached into her bio-armor and pulled out something small. A communication device of some kind, though not any design I recognized. She handed it to me. What's this, a way to contact me? Should you wish to continue our conversation? Why would I want to do that? She turned to leave, then paused at the doorway. Because you are the first being in 4 centuries to look at me and see something worth mocking rather than worth fearing. That makes you either valuable or dangerous. I have not yet decided which. What happens when you decide? That, she said, will depend entirely on how creative your next insults are. And then she was gone, leaving me standing in a maintenance corridor holding alien technology and wondering what the hell I'd just gotten myself into. Tali, I said to my AI, I think I just became friends with the alien who killed my parents. Friends might be a strong word, Tali replied. I would categorize this as mutually assured destruction with comedic elements. That's not a thing. It is now. Congratulations. Jack, you've invented a new form of diplomacy. I looked at the communication device in my hand. It was warm, pulsing slightly, like it was alive. Which, knowing causal technology, it probably was. Somewhere in the back of my mind, I could hear my mother's voice. She'd always said I'd mouth off to the wrong person someday and get myself killed. She was probably right. But she also used to say that laughter was the best medicine, that finding humor in darkness was what made humans human. I wondered what she'd think about me making her killer laugh. Tali, what are the odds she's going to kill me eventually? Approximately 87%. However, there's a 13% chance she'll adopt you like a pet instead. Those are terrible odds. Yes, but they're better than the 100% chance of death you had 10 minutes ago. Improvement. I pocketed the device and headed back to my quarters. Tomorrow, I'd have to face the inevitable shitstorm of having disrupted a tribunal session. Ambassador Reeves would probably have my head. Supervisor Threx would definitely have my job. And I'd made myself a target for every species that had a beef with humanity, which was basically all of them. But tonight, I was the human who'd roasted Azra the Deathbringer and lived to tell about it. That had to count for something. As I walked through the corridors of Aurelius Hub, I noticed something different. Beings who normally ignored me were staring, some with fear, some with curiosity, and a few with what might have been respect. Word traveled fast on the station. By the time I reached my quarters, I had 17 messages waiting. 3 from Ambassador Reeves, each increasingly frantic. 5 from Supervisor Threx, which I deleted without reading. 4 from news outlets wanting interviews. 2 from gambling syndicates, asking for my life insurance policy number. And 3 from unknown senders that just said variations of, "You're dead." But the last message was different. It was from the communication device Azra had given me. Just 4 words. That was adequately amusing. I couldn't help it. I laughed. Then I sent back, adequately, I'll try harder next time. Maybe I'll compare your combat philosophy to a self-help book written by a murder hobo. The response was immediate. I do not know what a murder hobo is. Oh, we have so much to discuss. And that's how I, Jack Turner, failed maintenance technician and successful smartass, became pen pals with the galaxy's most feared killer. Mom always said my mouth would get me in trouble. She never said the trouble might be interesting. Outside my small window, the stars of the galaxy spun in their eternal dance, indifferent to the strange friendship forming between a human who'd lost everything and an alien who'd taken everything. But somewhere among those stars, the future was shifting, changing in ways none of us could predict. All because I couldn't keep my damn mouth shut. Typical. Chapter 2. Sleeping with the Enemy. The first time Azra showed up at my quarters unannounced, I nearly had a heart attack. The second time, I spilled synthetic coffee all over myself. By the 10th time, I'd started leaving the door unlocked. It had been 3 weeks since the tribunal incident, and my life had taken a turn for the surreal. I'd kept my job, barely, thanks to Ambassador Reeves arguing that firing me would make humanity look weak. The irony of keeping me employed to save face wasn't lost on anyone. But the real change was my new shadow. Azra had taken to following me around the station like the universe's most terrifying lost puppy. She'd appear in corridors, lurking behind bulkheads, observing me with those 4 unsettling eyes. At first, security tried to intervene. Then they realized that trying to stop Azra from doing anything was like trying to stop a supernova with a strongly worded letter. You know stalking is typically considered creepy, right? I said one morning, finding her waiting outside the human sector's communal kitchen. I am not stalking. I am observing. That's literally what stalkers say. She tilted her head. A gesture I'd learned meant she was processing something new. I am unfamiliar with your human social conventions. How does one properly observe someone without being classified as a stalker? Generally, you ask permission first. Maybe hang out in normal social situations. You don't lurk in maintenance shafts watching them work. The maintenance shaft was spacious. It really wasn't. She followed me into the kitchen, having to duck through the doorway. Several humans scrambled to leave, abandoning their half-eaten breakfasts. Within seconds, we were alone. See, this is the problem, I said, pulling out ingredients for scrambled eggs. Real ones, shipped from Earth at ridiculous expense. Everyone's terrified of you. As they should be. No, that's the thing. Fear is boring. Fear means nobody ever tells you when you have food stuck in your teeth or when you're being an asshole. I do not consume food in a manner that would result in dental contamination. It's a metaphor. Ah. She watched me crack eggs into a pan. What are you doing? Making breakfast. You ever had Earth food? I have never required sustenance in the traditional sense. My bioarmor processes energy directly from radiation. That's the saddest thing I've ever heard. You've never had ice cream pizza chocolate. These items serve no tactical purpose. I turned to face her, spatula in hand. Azra, I'm about to blow your mind. Not everything needs a tactical purpose. Some things exist just because they're enjoyable. Enjoyment is inefficient. Enjoyment is the whole point. Here. I slid a plate of scrambled eggs toward her. Try this. She stared at the eggs like they might be poisoned. Which, fair, given our history. How does one try food? You put it in your mouth, chew and swallow. Though I'm not sure how that works with your... I gestured vaguely at her face. Her bioarmor shifted, revealing something that might have been a mouth. She picked up a fork, examined it like it was an ancient artifact, then attempted to spear an egg. The fork bent. Gently, like you're handling a newborn. not subduing an enemy combatant. She tried again, managing to get a small portion to her mouth. Her eyes widened, all four of them. This is unexpected. Good unexpected or bad unexpected. I am unsure. My mouth is experiencing sensations I lack vocabulary for. That's called flavor. Welcome to the wonderful world of having taste buds. She took another bite, more confident this time. Your species dedicates significant resources to creating variations of nutritional intake. We call it cuisine, and yes, we're obsessed with it. Wars have been fought over spices. That seems inefficient. That's humans for you. Inefficient but interesting. She finished the eggs, then looked at the empty plate with something like confusion. I desire more. That's called being hungry, or maybe just greedy. Either way, it's progress. I made another batch, and we sat in comfortable silence while she ate. It was surreal, sharing breakfast with someone who'd killed thousands of my species. But it was also oddly domestic. Why do you not fear me? She asked suddenly. Who says I don't? Your biological readings indicate no elevated stress responses in my presence. You can read my biological readings. My armor is equipped with multiple sensor arrays. That's not creepy at all. But to answer your question, I guess I figure if you wanted me dead, I'd already be dead. No point worrying about it. That is illogical. That's humans for you. We're really good at compartmentalizing. Plus, you laugh at my jokes. Hard to be completely terrified of someone who thinks I'm funny. She made that grinding gear sound that I'd learned was her version of a chuckle. Your humor is unusual. You make light of serious matters. It's called coping mechanism, much healthier than my other hobbies, which are drinking, starting fights with people who could kill me, and apparently befriending those same people. We are friends. The question caught me off guard. Were we? What do you call it when you share breakfast with your parents' killer? I don't know, I said honestly. But we're something. Before she could respond, my door chimed. I opened it to find Dr. Marcus Webb, the station's human psychological specialist, looking frazzled. Jack, we need to talk about... Oh God, she's here. Azra stood up, towering over both of us. Marcus took 3 steps back. Dr. Webb, I said. This is Azra, Dr. Webb. He's here to make sure I'm not going insane. I am not a threat to his mental stability, Azra said. Marcus laughed nervously. That's debatable. Jack, can we talk privately? Anything you need to say, you can say in front of my... I paused, still not sure what to call her. In front of Azra. Marcus looked like he wanted to argue, but thought better of it. Fine. The Concordium is concerned about your relationship with her. They think you might be suffering from Stockholm Syndrome. I'm not a hostage. No, but you're fraternizing with someone who murdered your parents. The temperature in the room seemed to drop. Azra's bio-armor rippled. Yeah, about that, I said. I've been meaning to ask. Azra, why did you kill those colonists on Kepler? Marcus made a choking sound. Jack, what are you doing? Having an honest conversation. So, Azra, why? She was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was different, smaller, somehow. I was following commands. Whose commands? The Concordium's. The silence that followed was deafening. Marcus had gone pale. That's impossible, he said. The Concordium condemned the Kepler massacre. They condemned it after ordering it, Azra said. The colonists had discovered something they were not meant to find. The Concordium requested a surgical strike. I was their instrument. My hands were shaking. What did they find? Evidence of the neural dominion technology. The same technology that allows the Concordium to control species they deem dangerous. Like the Karjul. Like me, specifically. I am the last of my kind because I am the only one they could successfully control. The others died resisting. I sat down heavily. The room felt like it was spinning. You're saying the Concordium ordered you to kill those people, then blamed you for it. It is an effective strategy. I become the monster. They become the protectors from the monster. Order is maintained. Jack, Marcus said quietly, if this is true, it changes everything. I finished. Azra, why are you telling us this? Because you asked, and because... She hesitated. Because for the first time in centuries, someone sees me as more than a weapon. I find I do not wish to lose that. This is insane, Marcus muttered. The political implications alone. Doctor, Azra said, turning those 4 eyes on him. You may report this conversation to your superiors. They will deny it. They will claim I am manipulating Jack Turner. They may even attempt to have me eliminated. But know this, I have recorded every order, every command, every directive I have received for the past 600 years. If threatened, I will release them all. That's blackmail. That is survival. Marcus left shortly after, looking like he'd aged 10 years in 10 minutes. Azra and I sat in silence. So, I finally said, you're telling me you're not actually a genocidal monster. You're just a very advanced weapon of mass destruction with autonomy issues. That is a crude but accurate summary. And you're rebelling against your programming by eating eggs and stalking me. I am exploring alternative behavioral patterns. Right. Of course. That makes perfect sense. I laughed. But it came out slightly hysterical. My life has become very weird. I apologize for the complications my presence causes. Don't. It's not like my life was going great before. At least now it's interesting. She tilted her head. You are not angry about your parents. I thought about it. Really thought about it. The anger was still there. Had been for years. But now, it had a different target. I'm furious, I said. But not at you. You were a weapon. I'm angry at the ones who pulled the trigger. That is a dangerous stance to take. Yeah, well, I've been making a lot of those lately. Over the next few days, word spread about Azra's revelations. The Concordium denied everything, of course. They painted her as a malfunctioning weapon, trying to manipulate a traumatized human. Some believed them. Others started asking questions. But the strangest development was Azra's continued integration into my daily routine. She'd show up for breakfast, trying new foods with the dedication of a scientist conducting experiments. She'd follow me to work, scaring off anyone who might have given me trouble. And at night, the first time I found her asleep on my couch, I nearly called security. She was curled up in a position that looked deeply uncomfortable. Her bioarmor relaxed in a way I'd never seen before. She looked almost vulnerable. Azra, I whispered. One eye opened. I was not sleeping. I was running diagnostic cycles. On my couch. Your furniture is surprisingly comfortable. It's really not. That couch is older than some civilizations. Nevertheless, she closed her eye again. I threw a blanket over her. Not sure if she needed it, but feeling like the gesture mattered. She made a sound that might have been contentment. This became our pattern. She'd arrive early, we'd share breakfast. She'd shadow me during the day, and she'd crash on my couch at night. It was domestic in a way that should have been disturbing, but somehow wasn't. You know you're basically a cat, right? I told her one evening as she claimed her spot on the couch. I am unfamiliar with this term. Small Earth predator. They adopt humans, demand food, and sleep wherever they want. These creatures sound tactically superior to humans. Oh, they absolutely are. We just pretend we're in charge. She made her grinding gear laugh. Like the Concordium pretends to control me. Exactly like that. 3 weeks turned into a month. The political situation grew more tense as other species began questioning the Concordium's version of events. Some called for Azra's immediate execution. Others wanted her testimony. Through it all, she remained my constant shadow. And slowly, something shifted. The fear she inspired began mixing with curiosity. People started seeing what I saw, not just a weapon, but a being, trying to understand what it meant to be more than that. You've domesticated the galaxy's deadliest predator, Ambassador Reeves told me during one of our mandatory meetings. Do you understand how that looks? Like humanity's greatest diplomatic achievement? Like you've lost your mind. Those aren't mutually exclusive, she sighed. The Zorth are calling for your removal from the station. They say you're compromised. I am compromised. I'm compromised by knowing the truth. Jack, be careful. The Concordium has maintained order for 10,000 years. They don't take kindly to disruption. Maybe it's time for some disruption. That night, I found Azra not on the couch but standing by my window, looking out at the stars. Contemplating the vastness of space. I asked. Remembering, she said. Every star system I've been to. I've left death behind. That's cheery. But here, she continued, I have left something else. Laughter, friendship, the taste of scrambled eggs. Don't forget the time you tried coffee and immediately spat it out. That beverage is poison. It's an acquired taste. Like friendship with humans. Exactly like that. She turned to face me. Jack Turner, you have given me something I did not know I lacked. Indigestion. Purpose beyond destruction. For centuries. I was aimed and fired. Now, I choose where to point myself. And where's that? Wherever you are, apparently. That's either really sweet or really concerning. It is both, she agreed. I am told this is common in human relationships. You've been researching human relationships. Your internet is very informative. Also deeply disturbing. Yeah, that's the internet for you. She moved to the couch, automatically curling into what I'd started thinking of as her spot. But this time, she patted the space next to her. Sit, she commanded. I'm not a dog. Sit anyway. I sat. She was warm, radiating heat through her bio-armor. It should have been uncomfortable. Sitting next to a living weapon. Instead, it felt safe. Your species is strange, she said. You are fragile, short-lived, and prone to poor decision-making. Yet you create art, music, food that serves no purpose except pleasure. You find humor in darkness. You offer friendship to enemies. We're complicated. Yes, beautifully so. We sat in silence, watching the stars. Eventually, her breathing deepened, and I realized she'd fallen asleep. Actually asleep, not running diagnostics. Her head had somehow ended up on my shoulder, which should have been terrifying given that she could crush my entire torso without effort. Instead, I found myself thinking about how strange life was. A year ago, I was nobody. A failed engineer drinking himself stupid in the outer colonies. Now I was sitting with the galaxy's most feared warrior, sleeping on my shoulder like she belonged there. Tali, I whispered to my AI. What the hell am I doing? Based on my analysis, you appear to be forming a trauma bond with a genetically modified killing machine who murdered your parents under mind control and now exhibits feline behavioral characteristics. When you put it like that, it sounds insane. That's because it is insane. However, it's also reducing galactic tensions by 37%. How? Your relationship is forcing people to reconsider their preconceptions about both humans and the Kharjul. You've accidentally become a symbol of reconciliation. I hate being a symbol. Too bad. You should have thought of that before you decided to adopt a genocidal alien. She adopted me. The distinction is minimal. Azra stirred, one eye opening. You are talking to yourself again. Talking to my AI. The one who insults you constantly. That's the one. I like her. She reminds me of you. That's probably not a compliment. It was not intended as one. She closed her eye again. Stop moving. You are a comfortable pillow. I'm not a pillow. You are now. And that's how I ended up spending the night on my couch with the galaxy's deadliest warrior, using me as a cushion. My back hurt. My arm went numb, and I couldn't move without waking her. It was the best night's sleep I'd had in years. The next morning brought chaos. The Concordium had decided to respond to the growing unrest by calling for a formal inquiry into Azra's claims. They wanted her to submit to a full neural scan, which she refused. They will attempt to trigger the Dominion programming, she told me over breakfast. She'd discovered pancakes and was methodically working through a stack taller than my head. If they succeed, I will revert to their weapon. So we don't let them. It is not that simple. They have legal authority. Since when have you cared about legal authority? Since I found reasons not to kill everyone who annoys me. Fair point. But there has to be another way. She was quiet for a moment. Systematically destroying pancakes. There is one possibility. Which is, if I were claimed as a ward of another species, they would need that species' permission for any procedures. Ward-like adoption. Essentially. Can you even adopt a 600-year-old killing machine? The law is unclear on that point. I stared at her. Are you asking me to adopt you? I am suggesting a legal manipulation that would provide tactical advantage. You're totally asking me to adopt you. Her bio-armor shifted in what I'd learned was embarrassment. The terminology is irrelevant. Oh my God. You want me to be your space dad. I am significantly older than you. Space son, then. Space parent. Space legal guardian. Jack. This is the best thing that's ever happened to me. Can I ground you? Send you to your room? Take away your bio-armor privileges? I am beginning to regret this suggestion, but she wasn't. I could tell by the way her eyes crinkled slightly. A tell I'd noticed when she was trying not to laugh. We'll need Ambassador Reeves on board, I said, already thinking through the logistics. And probably a really good lawyer. I have killed most of the lawyers I have encountered. Of course you have. We'll find one you haven't killed yet. A short list. As it turned out, getting legal guardianship of an ancient alien warrior was surprisingly easy. The Concordium's own bureaucracy worked in our favor. They'd never considered this scenario, so there were no rules against it. This is unprecedented, the legal administrator said, reviewing our application. A human claiming wardship of a Kharjul. Is there a law against it? Our lawyer asked. She was a Panthari named Grix who specialized in interspecies contract law and had nerves of steel. No. But then process the application. And just like that, I became the legal guardian of someone who could destroy a small moon. This is ridiculous! Ambassador Corrin raged at the next tribunal session. The human can barely care for himself, let alone oversee a weapon of mass destruction. I resent that, I said from my seat. I'm excellent at caring for myself. I hardly ever forget to eat anymore. This is not a joke. No, it's a legal arrangement fully compliant with Concordium law. Unless you're suggesting the law doesn't apply equally to all species. That shut him up. The Concordium prided itself on legal equality, even if it was mostly theoretical. Azra sat next to me. The picture of innocence if you ignored the bioarmor and the four eyes and the general aura of barely contained violence. "The ward requests permission to speak," she said formally. "Granted," the tribunal moderator said weakly. "I wish to make clear that this arrangement is voluntary. Jack Turner has shown me something I believed impossible, that I can be more than what I was made to be. Under his guidance, I have learned to appreciate music, even if his taste is questionable. I have discovered the joy of what humans call binge-watching. Though I do not understand why the characters in Friends do not simply communicate clearly, I have found peace in routine and companionship in unexpected places." She turned those four eyes on the assembled delegates. "For centuries, I was your weapon. Now, I choose to be something else. If you attempt to force me back into that role, you will learn why the Karjul were feared across the galaxy. But if you leave me in peace, I will remain as I am, Jack Turner's ward, consumer of Earth breakfast foods, and living proof that even the deadliest among us can change." The tribunal went silent. Then, from somewhere in the back, someone started clapping, then another. Soon, about a third of the assembly was applauding, while the rest looked ready to riot. "Order," the moderator called. "The arrangement stands. The Karjul Azra is legally recognized as the ward of human Jack Turner. This session is adjourned." As we left the tribunal, Azra did something unexpected. She took my hand. Her armored fingers engulfed mine, but the grip was gentle. "Thank you," she said quietly. "For what? For seeing me as more than a monster." "You're not a monster. You're my monster." "That is not better." "It's a little better." That night, she didn't sleep on the couch. She dragged her blanket to the floor next to my bed and curled up there like the world's deadliest guard dog. "The couch is more comfortable," I pointed out. "This position provides better tactical advantage if someone attempts to harm you." "Nobody's going to harm me. You've scared them all off." "Good." I hung my hand off the bed, and after a moment, she took it again. "Hey, Azra." "Yes." "My parents would have found this hilarious." "You believe they would have approved of our arrangement?" "My mom always said I'd bring home someone unexpected. Pretty sure this exceeds even her wildest expectations." "I am not a romantic partner." "No. You're something weirder. You're family." She was quiet for so long I thought she'd fallen asleep. Then, barely audible, "I have not had family in 600 years." "Well, you do now. Fair warning, humans are terrible at family. We fight. We say things we don't mean. We forget birthdays." "What is a birthday?" "Oh, man. We have so much to teach you." She squeezed my hand gently, careful not to break every bone in it. "I look forward to learning." And that's how I ended up with a 7-foot-tall alien warrior as my adopted space daughter, who slept on my floor and ate all my pancakes. My life had officially departed from any semblance of normal. But as I lay there in the dark, listening to her breathing, slow into sleep, I realized something I wouldn't change a thing. The galaxy might be insane, the Concordium might want us both dead, and I might be the worst guardian in the history of legal guardianship. But for the first time since my parents died, I wasn't alone, and neither was she. Chapter 3. The Chains of Revenge. The nightmare always started the same way. My parents' faces, frozen in that last video call before Kepler went dark. Then fire, screaming, and Azra, standing in the flames, her four eyes cold and empty. I woke up gasping, sheets soaked with sweat. The room was dark except for the soft glow of Azra's bioarmor from her spot on the floor. "You were distressed," she said. Not a question. "Just a dream." "About Kepler." I sat up, running my hands through my hair. "Yeah." She was quiet for a moment. "I remember them." "What?" "Your parents, engineers Sarah and Michael Turner. They were in the administrative complex when I breached the colony's defenses. My throat felt tight. Ezra, you don't have to. They did not run. Her voice was soft, almost mechanical, like she was reading from a report. When others fled, they stayed at their posts, trying to evacuate civilians through the emergency tunnels. They saved 43 people before I reached them. I couldn't breathe. Stop. Your mother threw herself in front of a child, a Proximan youngling who had been separated from its family. Your father tried to shield them both with his body. They died believing they were protecting the innocent. I said stop, but she continued, relentless. I killed them quickly. No pain. It was the only mercy the Dominion programming allowed. I remember their faces. I remember all their faces. I was off the bed before I realized I was moving, heading for the door. I needed air, space, distance from this conversation. Jack, I stopped, but didn't turn around. I tell you this not to hurt you, but because you deserve the truth. Your parents died as heroes. That knowledge belongs to you. Heroes. I laughed, but it came out broken. They died for nothing. The Concordium ordered their deaths to cover up their dirty secret. There's nothing heroic about that. They did not know that. They died believing their sacrifice meant something. Is that not the definition of heroism? I turned to face her. In the dim light, she looked smaller somehow, curled on the floor like she was trying to take up less space in the world. I hate this, I said. I hate that you're the one telling me how they died. I hate that you remember them when I'm already starting to forget little things. I hate that I can't hate you for it. You should hate me. I know. That's what makes this so fucked up. She uncurled slightly, those 4 eyes reflecting the starlight from the window. Would it help if I told you I hate myself for it? You do. Every day. Every face I remember is a weight I carry. Your parents' faces are among the heaviest. I slid down the wall until I was sitting on the floor across from her. The Dominion programming. Can you feel it right now? Always. It is like... She paused, searching for words. Like chains made of thought. They are looser now, since I met you, but they never fully break. What happens if the Concordium manages to tighten them again? Then I become what I was, a weapon without will. And you'd kill me, without hesitation. The honesty of it should have been terrifying. Instead, it was almost comforting. No lies, no sugarcoating, just truth. We need to find a way to break those chains, I said. Many have tried. The Carjul spent centuries attempting to free ourselves. We failed. Yeah, but you didn't have human stubbornness on your side. She made that grinding gear laugh. Human stubbornness. Is that what we're calling your inability to accept reasonable limitations? That's exactly what we're calling it. The next morning, I started researching. The station's archives had limited information on neural dominion technology, most of it classified beyond my clearance level. But Tali was good at finding holes in security systems. This is highly illegal, she informed me as she pulled up restricted files. Add it to the list. The list is becoming concerningly long. Just show me what you found. The files were disturbing. Neural dominion wasn't just mind control. It was complete neural restructuring. The subject's brain was essentially reformatted, their original personality suppressed beneath layers of programmed directives. This is monstrous, I muttered, scrolling through technical specifications. It gets worse, Tali said. According to these documents, the process is considered irreversible after the first year. Azra has been under its influence for 6 centuries. There has to be a way. Jack, the science says, fuck the science. Science also said humans could never achieve FTL travel, and look how that turned out. I was so absorbed in the files that I didn't notice Azra had entered until she spoke. You will not find the answer in those documents. I spun around. How long have you been standing there? Long enough. The Concordium's files contain only their understanding of the technology. They did not create it. Who did? My people. The Karjul developed neural dominion as a way to create perfect soldiers. The Concordium stole it and turned it against us. So the original creators might have known how to reverse it. Perhaps, but they are all dead. All of them, she hesitated. There are rumors. Stories of Karjul who escaped the purge, hiding in the uncharted regions. But they are only rumors. Rumors are better than nothing. How do we find them? We do not. If they exist, they have remained hidden for centuries. They will not reveal themselves to the creature who hunted their kind to extinction. But they might reveal themselves to the human who's trying to free you. Before she could respond, my door chimed. Ambassador Reeves stood outside, looking grim. We have a problem, she said, pushing past me into the room. The Concordium has issued a recall order for Azra. They can't, I said. She's legally my ward. They're claiming imminent threat to galactic security. They have 48 hours to provide evidence. If they succeed, the wardship is void. Azra's bioarmor rippled, a sign of agitation. They will manufacture evidence. Probably, Reeves agreed. Which is why you two need to leave. Now. Leave and go where? Anywhere that's not here. I've arranged for a ship. It's not much, but it'll get you to the outer systems. You're helping us run. I couldn't hide my surprise. Reeves had always been a by-the-book diplomat. I'm helping you buy time. The Concordium is scared. Your relationship with Azra is causing ripples they can't control. Other species are starting to question the official narrative about the Karjul, about a lot of things. So we're political inconveniences. You're catalysts. And historically, the Concordium eliminates catalysts. I looked at Azra. What do you think? I think your ambassador is correct. Remaining here places you in danger. I'm not worried about me. You should be. If they cannot control me, they will use you to do it. The thought hadn't occurred to me. They'd hurt me to get to you? They would do worse than hurt you. Reeves handed me a data pad. Docking Bay 12. Ship's called the Rust Bucket. Seriously. You want to be inconspicuous, right? Nothing more inconspicuous than a piece of junk freighter. 2 hours later, we were aboard the Rust Bucket, which lived up to its name. The ship was older than me, held together by prayer and spot welds. But the engines worked, and that was all that mattered. Where are we going? Azra asked, as I programmed the navigation system. The Fringe. Specifically, a station called Haven's Rest. That is deep in uncharted space. Exactly. If we're going to find these hidden Karjul, we need to start where the Concordium doesn't have eyes. This is foolish. We are chasing myths. No, we're chasing hope. There's a difference. The journey to Haven's Rest took 3 weeks. 3 weeks of just Azra and me in a ship barely big enough for one person, let alone a human and a 7-foot-tall alien warrior. We developed a routine quickly. I handled the piloting and maintenance while she managed security and navigation. We ate meals together in the cramped galley, played card games I taught her, and talked. Tell me about your people, I said one evening as we drifted through dead space. Before the Dominion, before the Concordium. We were artists, she said, surprising me. Warriors, yes, but also poets, musicians, sculptors. We believed that creation and destruction were two sides of the same truth. What kind of art did you make? I sang. I nearly choked on my recycled protein paste. You sang. Does that surprise you? Everything about you surprises me. What did you sing? Battle hymns, mostly. but also lullabies for younglings, love songs for bondmates. Sing something for me. I cannot. The Dominion programming suppresses that part of me. Try anyway. She was quiet for a long moment, then made a sound. It wasn't quite singing, more like a broken melody trying to remember itself. But there was beauty in it, hidden beneath centuries of silence. That was hauntingly beautiful, I said when she stopped. That was noise. Beautiful noise. You are biased. Completely. Doesn't make me wrong. On day 18, we picked up a distress signal. Against our better judgment, we investigated. The ship was a small courier vessel, dead in space with a blown reactor. It could be a trap, Azra warned. Or it could be someone who needs help. Your optimism will get us killed. Probably, but we're checking anyway. The ship held a single occupant, a Talarian merchant named Corex who'd been drifting for days. Thank the stars, he gasped when we brought him aboard. I thought I was dead. What happened? I asked, getting him water. Pirates. They took my cargo and left me to die. Pirates this deep in the fringe. They're everywhere now. The Concordium's control is slipping. I exchanged glances with Azra. If the Concordium was losing control, things were changing faster than we'd thought. We dropped Corex at the next inhabited system, where he insisted on paying us despite our protests. You saved my life, he said. In the fringe. That means something. We just did what anyone would do. No, he said, looking at Azra with something like awe. Not anyone would travel with the Deathbringer and live. Yet she follows you like a guardian. There are stories about you too. Stories. The human who tamed death itself. The warrior who chose love over war. That's not, I started. But Azra interrupted. Let them tell their stories, she said. Stories have power. Haven's Rest was exactly what I'd expected from a fringe station barely functional, probably criminal, and definitely dangerous. Perfect for hiding. We docked without incident, though several beings scrambled away when they saw Azra. We need information, I said, heading for what passed as a bar. Someone here has to know about Karjul survivors. The bar was dark, smoky, and filled with the kind of people who didn't want to be found. We grabbed a corner table, ignoring the stares. What'll it be? The bartender asked, keeping his distance. Information, I said, sliding credits across the table. About the Karjul. Don't know nothing about that. You sure? I added more credits. He eyed the money, then Azra, then back to the money. There's someone. Calls himself the Keeper. Lives in the old mining section. But you didn't hear it from me. The old mining section was abandoned, full of shadows and echoes. We found the Keeper in what used to be a processing plant, surrounded by old tech and stranger artifacts. He was Karjul. I knew it the moment I saw him, even though he looked nothing like Azra. Where her bio-armor was sleek and aggressive. His was patched and worn. Where she had 4 eyes, he had 6, 2 of them clouded with age. So, he said, voice like grinding stone. The Deathbringer comes at last. Azra tensed. You know me. Every Karjul knows you. The last of our warrior caste. The Concordium's pet monster. I am no one's pet, she growled. No. Then why do you still wear their chains? We're here to break them. I interrupted. That's why we need your help. The Keeper laughed, a sound like breaking glass. A human wants to free the one who slaughtered thousands of his kind. How amusing. Can you help or not? He studied me with those 6 eyes. Perhaps, but the price will be higher than you can imagine. Name it. Not credits, not favors, truth. He moved closer, and I could see the scars covering his armor. The truth about what the Concordium really is, what they've hidden for 10,000 years. We already know they use neural dominion. Child, that is merely a tool. The truth is far worse. He gestured to a pile of old equipment. Sit, listen. Learn why your Concordium fears two individuals enough to chase you to the edge of known space. We sat, and the keeper began to speak, telling us a story that changed everything. The Concordium is not a government, he said. It is a prison, and we, all of us, every species under its rule, we are the prisoners. That's ridiculous, I said. Is it, tell me, human? Have you ever wondered why no species is allowed to develop certain technologies? Why exploration beyond the galactic edge is forbidden? Why the Concordium reacts so violently to any threat to their order? To maintain peace. To maintain control. The Concordium was created by something else. Something from beyond our galaxy. We are livestock, kept docile and contained while they feed on our conflicts, our emotions, our very souls. Azra was absolutely still. You have proof. I have more than proof. I have the key to destroying them. He pulled out a device I didn't recognize, something that hurt to look at directly. Neural dominion was our attempt to fight back, to create soldiers who couldn't be influenced by their emotional manipulation. It failed because the Concordium corrupted it, turned it into another tool of control. But there's a way to break it. Not break, reverse. Turn the dominion from a chain into a weapon. Make the controlled into the controller. That's not what we want, I said quickly. We just want Azra free. Freedom. The keeper laughed again. There is no freedom while the Concordium exists. Your friend here. She is the key. The last warrior with the strength to carry our vengeance. I will not be a weapon again, Azra said firmly. You already are. The only question is whether you're their weapon or your own. He stood, moving to an ancient terminal. I can modify your neural dominion, Deathbringer. I can give you the power to turn it against them. But once I do, there's no going back. You'll have to use that power to destroy the Concordium, or watch everyone you care about suffer for your mercy. That's not a choice, I said. That's extortion. That's revolution, he corrected. The human is right about one thing. Deathbringer. You two are catalysts. The Concordium fears you because together, you represent something they cannot control: genuine connection between species. Love that transcends their manipulation. We're not, I started. Aren't you? You share living space. You share meals. You protect each other. You've legally bound yourselves together. What is that if not love? I looked at Azra, who was looking at me. Something passed between us. Unspoken, but understood. Do it, she said to the keeper. Azra, no. We don't know what this will do to you. We know what doing nothing will do. The Concordium will never stop hunting us. They'll use you against me or me against you. This is the only way. There has to be another option. She stood, moving to where I sat. Her hand touched my face, gentle despite the armor. Jack Turner, you showed me I could be more than a weapon. Now let me choose to be a weapon for something worthwhile. This could kill you. Not doing it will kill everyone else eventually. The keeper watched us with those 6 eyes. Fascinating. The stories were true. The human did tame death itself. Nobody tamed anyone, I said irritably. We're partners. Partners. He seemed to taste the word. Yes. That's what terrifies them. Not your individual strength, but your partnership. Very well. I will give you what you seek. But know this: once modified, the neural dominion will respond to emotional triggers. The stronger the emotion, the more power you'll have over it. What kind of emotions? The kind that brought you together. Humor, compassion, love. The procedure took hours. I held Azra's hand the entire time while the keeper worked. using technology I didn't understand to rewrite centuries of programming. She didn't scream, but her bioarmor rippled and shifted like it was trying to escape. "Talk to her," the keeper instructed. "Your voice will anchor her." So I talked. I told her about Earth, about my childhood, about the time I accidentally set my school on fire trying to build a rocket. I told her every terrible joke I knew. I reminded her about pancakes and scrambled eggs, and that time she tried ice cream and got brain freeze. "Do you remember," I said as she squeezed my hand hard enough to crack bones, "when you first laughed, you looked so surprised, like you'd forgotten it was possible. That's when I knew you weren't just a weapon. Weapons don't laugh." Her eyes opened, all four focusing on me. "Jack, I'm here. I can feel it. The chains. They're still there, but different." The keeper stepped back. "It's done. The neural dominion is now yours to command. Use it wisely." "How does it work?" Azra asked, standing slowly. "Think of something that makes you feel, strongly, then direct that feeling at the dominion." She closed her eyes. For a moment, nothing happened. Then she laughed, really laughed, free and unrestrained. Her bioarmor shifted, changing from its usual dark metallic to something that almost seemed to glow. "I can feel them," she said. "All of them. Every Concordium control node in the galaxy. They're all connected. And now I'm connected too." "Can you shut them down?" "Not from here. I'd need to be at the source, the Concordium's core facility, which is Earth's moon." I stared at her. "They built their control center on our moon. Where better to watch the species they fear most?" The keeper nodded. "Now you understand. Earth wasn't inducted into the Concordium. It was imprisoned by it. Your species' emotional volatility, your unpredictability, your ability to inspire change in others, it all terrifies them. So, what do? You return to Earth," the keeper said. "You use the Deathbringer's new power to destroy their control network. You free the galaxy. Just like that. No, they'll fight. They'll use everything they have to stop you. But you have something they don't expect. Which is," he smiled, a terrifying expression on his scarred face. "Each other." Chapter 4. Burning the Dominion. The journey back to Earth space took 2 months. 2 months of dodging Concordium patrols, jumping through unstable wormholes, and surviving on recycled air that tasted like despair. But the worst part wasn't the danger or the discomfort. It was watching Azra struggle with her newfound power. "I can hear them," she said one night, pressing her hands against her head. "Every being under Dominion control. They're screaming. Jack, constantly screaming. Can you block them out?" "If I do, I lose the connection. I need the connection to shut down the network." She hadn't slept in 3 days. Couldn't sleep, she said. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw through theirs. Thousands of enslaved minds across the galaxy, all crying out for freedom they didn't even know they'd lost. "We're going to free them," I promised, holding her hand as she trembled. "What if we're too late? What if I can't control it when we get there?" "You will. Know how I know. Your insufferable human optimism. That, and the fact that you haven't killed me yet despite having every reason to." She managed a weak laugh. "The night is young." We were 3 days out from Earth when everything went wrong. The Concordium fleet found us. 40 ships, Tali reported, her voice unusually tense. "Surrounding us in a standard containment formation." "Can we run?" "Not in this rust bucket. We'd be vapor before we reach the jump point." On the view screen, the lead Concordium vessel hailed us. Ambassador Corrin's reptilian face filled the display. "Jack Turner, Azra the Deathbringer, You are ordered to surrender immediately for processing. Processing, I muttered. Such a nice euphemism for lobotomy. You have 60 seconds to comply. I looked at Azra. Ideas. She stood slowly, her bio-armor shifting into something I'd never seen before, patterns of light racing across its surface like living circuitry. I have one. Is it a good idea? No, but it's spectacular. She moved to the communication console. Ambassador Corin, I have a message for the Concordium. Surrender is your only... I know what you are, she interrupted. I know what feeds on our suffering. I know about the entities beyond the galactic edge, and I know how to stop them. Corin's composure cracked slightly. You know nothing. I know you're not the leader you pretend to be. You're middle management at best. A glorified prison guard keeping us docile, while your masters feast. Destroy them, Corin ordered, but Azra was already moving. She pressed her hands against the ship's hull, and her bio-armor flared with blinding light. I felt something ripple out from her, a wave of pure emotion that made my teeth ache. Every ship in the Concordium fleet stopped firing. What did you do? I whispered. I reminded them how to laugh. On the view screen, chaos erupted. Concordium soldiers were doubled over, some crying, others laughing hysterically. Corin himself had fallen off his command chair, making a sound that might have been giggling if reptiles could giggle. It won't last, Azra said, sagging against the console. Maybe 10 minutes. We need to run. We ran. The jump to Earth was rough. The rust bucket wasn't meant for emergency jumps. And it showed. We came out of hyperspace with half our systems fried and the other half on fire. That's Earth, I said, looking at the blue marble floating in space. Home. It's beautiful, Azra said softly. Wait until you see it up close. Actually, don't. We've kind of trashed the place. And there, she pointed to the moon, is our target. The lunar facility was supposed to be a mining operation. That's what humanity had been told when the Concordium helped us build it. Looking at it now, knowing what it really was, I felt sick. We'd helped build our own prison. How do we get in? I asked. That place has got to be defended. It is. But they're expecting an attack. Not a comedy show. A what now? She turned to me, and for the first time in days, she looked like herself again. You're going to do what you do best, Jack Turner. You're going to roast them into submission. That's insane. That's the point. The neural dominion responds to emotion. The stronger the emotion, the more power I have. And nothing generates emotion quite like your particular brand of humor. You want me to literally defeat our enemies with jokes. I want you to be yourself. Aggressively, unapologetically yourself. We approach the moon in the rust bucket's barely functional shuttle. No stealth, no weapons. Just two idiots in a tin can heading straight for the front door. The facility's defense systems locked onto us immediately. Unidentified vessel. You are entering restricted space. Turn back or be destroyed. I opened a channel. Hi there. We're here for the Evil Overlord Convention. Are we early? The invitation said fashionably late, but I've never been clear on what that means in zero gravity. This is your final warning. Oh, good. Finals. I never studied. Quick question, though, if this is a mining facility. What exactly are you mining? Because from here, it looks like you're mining human misery, which seems like a renewable resource, but terrible for morale. Azra grabbed my hand. I felt her drawing on my emotions, channeling them through the modified Dominion network. What are you doing? The defense operator asked, his voice suddenly uncertain, wondering why anyone would build a secret mind control facility on the moon. I mean, talk about on the nose. What was your second choice? A volcano lair. Did you have a whole PowerPoint about optimal evil base locations? The defense systems powered down. Did that actually work? I asked. Keep talking, Azra said through gritted teeth. I need more. We landed in the main hangar, which was surprisingly empty. As we walked through the corridors, I kept up a running commentary. Look at this interior design. Very dystopian minimalist. I bet the decorator was like, we need something that says control and oppression, but also easy to clean. Because you know what's hard, getting blood out of carpet. Guards appeared around a corner. Before they could raise their weapons, they started laughing. See, they get it, I said. Everyone's a critic. We reached the central control room, a massive chamber filled with crystalline structures that hurt to look at. At its center stood a figure I didn't recognize. Tall, thin, with too many joints in all the wrong places. So you're the management, I said. Got to say, not impressed. You look like someone tried to draw a stick figure from memory after a 3-day bender. The entity tilted its head. When it spoke, its voice came from everywhere at once. You are the anomaly, the human who corrupted our weapon. Corrupted is a strong word. I prefer gave her a personality upgrade. You had her running on Murder OS for centuries. I just installed some humor patches and a conscience driver. Your words are meaningless. My words are hilarious. And that's what scares you. I stepped forward, feeling Azra's presence behind me, drawing strength from my defiance. You feed on suffering, right? Negative emotions. Well, bad news. Buddy, humans are really good at finding humor in darkness. We laugh at funerals. We make jokes about our own deaths. We find comedy in the apocalypse. Your whole business model is fucked. The entity moved, faster than thought. One moment it was across the room. The next, it had me by the throat. You will be silent. Make me, I wheezed. Oh wait, you can't. Because the moment you kill me, you lose your leverage over her. And without leverage, you're just a cosmic middle manager with delusions of grandeur. Its grip tightened. Stars exploded across my vision. Then Azra laughed. Not her grinding gear laugh. Something deeper, richer, fully realized. The sound filled the chamber, and the crystalline structures began to resonate. You want to know what's funny, she said, walking forward with deliberate calm. For 600 years, you used me as a weapon. You pointed me at civilizations and pulled the trigger. You made me a monster. The entity dropped me, turning to face her. You are our creature. You will obey. No, I'm Jack's creature now, and he taught me something you never understood. Her bio-armor was blazing now, patterns of light that looked like joy itself. Laughter is rebellion, humor is hope, and love is the ultimate fuck you to entities that feed on despair. Love, the entity sneered. You are incapable of love. Am I? She helped me to my feet, keeping one hand on my shoulder. Jack, tell me a joke. Now. Okay. Why did the genocidal alien warrior cross the road? Why? To get to the other side of her programming and discover she really just wanted pancakes and nap time. She laughed again, and this time the crystals cracked. That's terrible, she said. I'm being strangled. My material suffers. Your material always suffers. And yet you laugh. And yet I laugh. The entity screamed, a sound that existed in dimensions I couldn't perceive. Around us, the crystals shattered one by one, each destruction sending out a pulse of light. What's happening? I asked. The network is collapsing, Azra said. Every Dominion node across the galaxy. They're all connected to this one, and this one is connected to me, and I am... What free? The entity lunged at us, but it was already fragmenting, pieces of itself flaking away like burned paper. You cannot do this. The Concordium has maintained order for millennia. The Concordium has maintained control, I corrected. There's a difference. Order implies consent. Control just requires force. Without us, there will be chaos. Yeah, probably. But it'll be our chaos. Homegrown, locally sourced, organic chaos. Much better than your imported authoritarian stability. The entity was mostly gone now, just a vague outline of malevolence. This is not over. Others will come. Others will face the same thing you did, Azra interrupted. A galaxy full of species who've learned to laugh at tyrants. Good luck feeding on that. The entity vanished with a sound like reality hiccuping. For a moment, everything was quiet. Then alarms started blaring. We should go, I said. This place is probably about to explode or implode or some other kind of plode. Wait. Azra moved to the central console, placing her hands on it. I can feel them all. Every mind that was under Dominion control. They're waking up. All of them. Thousands. Across hundreds of worlds. They're free. That's beautiful. Also terrifying. But mostly beautiful. The facility shook violently. Okay. Now we really need to go. We ran through collapsing corridors, dodging debris and confused personnel, who were suddenly wondering why they were on the moon. The shuttle was where we'd left it, miraculously intact. As we lifted off, the entire facility began to fold in on itself, reality warping around the collapsed network. Is that supposed to happen? I asked. I have no idea. I've never destroyed a galactic control network before. First time for everything. We watched from orbit as the lunar facility disappeared into a singularity that shouldn't have been possible, taking with it the last remnants of the Concordium's control. So what now? I asked as we drifted in space. Earth below us, stars above. Now we deal with the consequences. Which are? Every species in the galaxy is about to realize they've been controlled for millennia. There will be confusion, anger, probably war. Sounds like Tuesday, she laughed, softer now. You're not concerned. Oh, I'm terrified. But I'm also optimistic. You know why? Your insufferable human nature. That, and the fact that if a human and a Kharjul can become family, anything's possible. She was quiet for a moment. Family. What else would you call us? You sleep on my floor, eat all my food, and I just helped you overthrow a galactic government. That's either family or the universe's weirdest romance. It could be both. I turned to look at her. Yeah. I have been researching human relationships. The boundaries are often fluid. Azra, are you hitting on me? I am suggesting that our partnership could evolve in whatever direction feels natural. That's definitely hitting on me. Is it working? Ask me after we're not floating in a damaged shuttle above Earth with half the galaxy probably hunting us. I will hold you to that. 3 weeks later, we were back on Aurelius Hub. The station was chaos. Without the Concordium's control, old grievances were surfacing, new alliances forming, and everyone was trying to figure out what came next. Ambassador Reeves found us in our old quarters. Well, my old quarters that had somehow become our quarters. You two have caused the biggest political upheaval in recorded history, she said. You're welcome, I replied. I wasn't thanking you. You should be. The Concordium was literally feeding space vampires with our suffering. Yes. Well, now we have to build something new, and everyone wants to know what role you two will play. I looked at Azra, who was unsuccessfully trying to figure out how to use chopsticks. Honestly, we just want to be left alone. That's not an option. You're symbols now. The human who freed the galaxy and the weapon who chose love over control. That's very poetic but completely wrong, I said. I didn't free anything. I just told jokes at inappropriate times. Azra did all the work. We did it together, Azra corrected, still fighting with the chopsticks. The point is, Reeves continued, the galaxy needs stability. It needs hope. It needs someone else. I interrupted. We're not heroes. We're just two damaged people who found each other and accidentally broke the universe. That might be the most heroic thing I've ever heard. Then you need better heroes. Reeves left eventually, but not before making us promise to at least consider helping with the reconstruction efforts. We should help, Azra said, that night as she claimed her spot on the floor beside my bed. We should, but not yet. First, we need to figure out us. Us. You said our partnership could evolve. I've been thinking about that. And I think we've already evolved. We just haven't admitted it yet. She was quiet for a long moment. I killed your parents. Under mind control. I killed thousands. Also under mind control. I am not human. Thank God, humans are exhausting. Jack. Azra. I hung my hand off the bed, and she took it, careful, as always, not to break it. We're already family, already partners, already whatever this is. The only question is whether we're brave enough to admit it. I have been brave enough to admit it since you made me laugh. Then, why didn't you say anything? I was waiting for you to make a joke about it. I laughed. Of course you were. It seemed appropriate. You know what else would be appropriate. What? You getting off the floor and just sharing the bed. Your back has to be killing you. I do not experience back pain. Liar. She moved then, cautiously, like she was afraid she might break something. The bed creaked under her weight, but held. She was warm against my back, her bio-armor automatically adjusting to be softer, less threatening. This is strange, she said. Everything about us is strange. True. She was quiet for a moment. Jack. Yeah. What would your parents think of this? I thought about it. Really thought about it. My mom would probably be confused, but ultimately supportive. She always said I'd end up with someone unexpected. And your father. He'd make terrible jokes about it until you laughed. Then, he'd welcome you to the family. They sound wonderful. They were. I'm sorry. I know. We lay there in the dark. Two unlikely souls in an unlikely situation, while outside the galaxy, tried to figure out what freedom meant. Hey, Azra. Yes. We just overthrew a galactic government with the power of inappropriate humor and unexpected feelings. We did. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. It is. Want to do it again sometime? She laughed. That beautiful, impossible sound that had started everything. With you always. The next morning, we woke to find a crowd outside our quarters. Representatives from dozens of species, all wanting to thank us, or blame us, or understand us. I looked at Azra. Ready for this? No. You. Absolutely not. Perfect. Let's do it anyway. We opened the door together, ready to face whatever came next. The crowd fell silent, staring at the human and the Carjul standing side by side. So, I said to the assembled masses, who wants breakfast? The confusion that followed was absolute, which, honestly, was exactly how I liked it. You can't just offer breakfast to address a political crisis, someone shouted. Watch me, I said. Azra, how many pancakes do you think we can make? All of them. That's the spirit. And that's how the first Galactic Council of Free Peoples began, with pancakes in a communal kitchen, served by the galaxy's most unlikely couple. Dr. Marcus Webb would later write in his historical account, "The revolution began with a laugh and ended with breakfast. It was the most human thing I'd ever witnessed. And perhaps that's why it worked. But I knew better. It worked because sometimes the most powerful force in the universe isn't strength or technology, or even freedom. Sometimes it's just two people choosing each other despite every reason not to. And pancakes. Pancakes definitely helped." Chapter 5. The Catnap Before the Storm. 6 months after we accidentally freed the galaxy, I found myself in the most dangerous situation of my life, teaching Azra how to drive. "The vehicle is responding incorrectly," she said, gripping the steering wheel hard enough to leave permanent indentations. "That's because you're trying to pilot it like a spacecraft. Cars don't have vertical thrusters." "They should." "Well, they don't. Also, you're going 3 miles per hour. This is a reasonable speed for navigating uncertain terrain. It's a highway. The speed limit is 65. "That seems excessive." Behind us, a line of increasingly angry Earth drivers stretched for half a mile. Someone honked. Azra's bio-armor bristled. "Should I eliminate the threat?" No eliminating. That's just how humans communicate in traffic. By screaming through mechanical devices. Pretty much, yeah. She accelerated to a whopping 10 miles per hour. "Your species is confusing," says the alien who spent 3 hours yesterday watching cat videos. "They are surprisingly tactical creatures. I am studying their methods." "Sure you are." We'd been living on Earth for 3 months now, in a small house outside Denver that the new Galactic Council had provided. Officially, we were consultants on interspecies relations. Unofficially, we were the galaxy's weirdest couple, trying to figure out how to be normal. Spoiler alert, we were terrible at normal. "Jack," Azra said, finally managing to reach the speed limit. "There is something I need to tell you. If it's about the neighbor's garden gnome, I already know you vaporized it." It was looking at me aggressively. "It's ceramic." "Aggressive ceramic," she paused. "But no, it's not about that." "What then?" "The Galactic Council wants us to return to active duty." I felt my stomach drop. "When were you going to mention this?" "I am mentioning it now. While I'm trapped in a car you're driving, that's either very strategic or very mean." "Both," she admitted. "I learned from your cat videos that trapping prey before difficult conversations increases compliance." "I'm not prey." "You are very prey-shaped." "That's not a compliment." She took the exit toward our house, still driving like she expected the road to attack at any moment. "They need us. Jack, the galaxy is still adjusting to freedom. There are conflicts, confusion. Some species want to return to the old ways. Not our problem. It is our problem. We broke their system. We have a responsibility to help build something better. We have a responsibility to ourselves first. Do you know how nice it's been just being us? No galactic crises. No mind control. No entities from beyond space and time. Just you, me, and your weird obsession with Earth game shows. Jeopardy is intellectually stimulating. You got upset when you found out you can't actually fight Alex Trebek for supremacy. The name implies combat. I laughed despite myself. This was our life now. Domestic arguments about game shows and garden gnomes. It was ridiculous and perfect, and I didn't want to give it up. We pulled into our driveway where our neighbor, Mrs. Patterson, was watering her petunias and pointedly not looking at the spot where her gnome used to be. "Afternoon, Mrs. Patterson," I called out. She huffed and went inside. "She still hasn't forgiven the gnome incident," Azra observed. "You think inside. Our house was a testament to the bizarre fusion of our lives. Earth furniture mixed with alien artifacts. A kitchen full of human food, and Azra's collection of nutritional supplements that looked like angry crystals. The living room where we'd pushed all the furniture against the walls so Azra could practice what she called combat meditation and what I called aggressive yoga. And everywhere, scattered like confetti, were traces of the life we'd built. My coffee mugs with terrible puns. Her attempts at earth art, which looked like someone had explained the concept of painting to an enthusiastic weapon. Photos from our travels across Earth, including that disastrous trip to Disneyland, where Azra had tried to neutralize Mickey Mouse. "I don't want to lose this," I said quietly. Azra moved behind me, wrapping her arms around my waist. She'd gotten better at gentle touches, though sometimes she still forgot and accidentally lifted me off the ground. "We won't lose it. We'll just expand it. To include galactic politics. Think of it as aggressive diplomacy with snack breaks. You can't solve everything with snacks. We literally started a revolution with pancakes." Fair point. The doorbell rang before I could respond. We never had visitors. Earth was still adjusting to the idea of aliens, and most people gave us a wide berth. The brave ones took selfies from across the street. I opened the door to find Ambassador Reeves standing there with someone I didn't recognize, a tall, ethereal being that seemed to be made of condensed starlight. "Jack, Azra," Reeves said. "This is Luminary Stella of the Photonic Collective. She insisted on meeting you." "Greetings," Stella said, her voice like wind chimes. "I have traveled far to see the ones who broke the chains." "We're retired," I said immediately. "No one retires from destiny." "Watch me." Azra stepped forward, and I noticed her bioarmor had shifted to a defensive configuration. "State your purpose." "There are others," Stella said simply. "Other entities like the ones you destroyed? They've noticed what you did. They're coming." The room went cold. "How many?" Azra asked. "Unknown. But they feed on suffering. And a galaxy in chaos is a feast they cannot resist." "So much for retirement," I muttered. Reeves cleared her throat. "The Council is forming a defense coalition. Every free species is contributing. But we need leaders. Symbols. You need us to be heroes." I finished. "We're not heroes. We're just the human who made death laugh and the warrior who chose love over control." Stella interrupted. "Your story has spread across the galaxy. You are already legends. Legends die heroically. We're planning to die of old age, surrounded by cats." "We don't have cats," Azra pointed out. "We're getting cats. I've decided." "When did you decide this?" "Just now. It feels right." Stella made a sound that might have been laughter. "You are exactly as the stories describe. Chaotic. Irreverent. Perfect." "Perfect for what?" I asked, though I was afraid I already knew. "For teaching the galaxy that fear is not the only response to darkness. That laughter, love, and absolute absurdity are weapons too." "That's not a military strategy," I said. "That's a philosophy. After what you two accomplished, the distinction seems irrelevant." Azra and I exchanged glances. In her 4 eyes, I saw the same resignation I felt. We'd known this day would come. The galaxy doesn't let its heroes rest. "What would we need to do?" Azra asked. "Travel to the gathering point. Help coordinate the defense. Be visible. Be yourselves." "That last part sounds ominous," I said. "Your unconventional methods are precisely what we need. The entities expect fear, anger, desperation. They don't expect jokes about their appearance and arguments about garden gnomes. Essentially, yes." I looked around our little house, our attempt at normal life. It had been a nice dream. "Can we bring the cats?" I asked. "We still don't have cats," Azra reminded me. "We're getting them on the way." 3 days later, we were aboard the Council's flagship, heading toward the galactic rim where the first incursions had been detected. True to my word, we'd stopped at an animal shelter and adopted 3 cats. Mr. Whiskers, a fat orange tabby who immediately claimed Azra's lap as his territory. Shadow, a black cat who seemed offended by existence. And Princess Murderfoot, whose name should have been a warning but wasn't. Your emotional support animals are plotting my death, Azra said. Mr. Whiskers, purring aggressively on her chest. They're cats. They plot everyone's death. It's part of their charm. This one has claimed me as territory. Congratulations, you've been chosen. The War Council was not prepared for us to show up with cats. The looks on various alien faces when Azra walked in. The galaxy's most feared warrior, covered in orange fur with a cat on her shoulder, were priceless. This is a military strategy meeting, Admiral Thorne of the New Earth Defense Force said. And we're here, I replied. Princess Murderfoot attempting to eat my shoelaces. Your point. The cats are essential personnel, Azra said in a tone that suggested arguing would result in violence. Nobody argued. The meeting was grim. The entities, which the Council had designated devourers, were massing at the galactic edge. Unlike the single entity we'd faced on the moon, these ones weren't hiding. They wanted us to know they were coming. They feed on negative emotions, Dr. Marcus Webb explained, pulling up holographic displays. Fear, anger, despair. The more we feel, the stronger they become. So we just need to be happy, someone asked. That's impossible in the face of annihilation. Not happy, I said, standing up. Human. Everyone stared at me. Humans are weird, I continued. We laugh at funerals. We make jokes during disasters. We find humor in the darkest moments. It's not about being happy. It's about being defiantly, absurdly human. Not all of us are human, a Zorthian delegate pointed out. No, but you all have something similar. Every species has its own way of dealing with darkness. The Zorth have competitive violence poetry. The Proxima sing war ballads that are basically musical roasting. The Photonic Collective literally turns trauma into art. We don't need to be happy. We need to be ourselves, aggressively and without apology. That's not a battle plan, Admiral Thorne said. Sure it is. Azra. She stood, Mr. Whiskers still draped over her shoulder like a furry scarf. When Jack first insulted me, I laughed for the first time in 4 centuries. Not because I was happy, but because his defiance in the face of certain death was so absurd, so pointlessly brave, that it broke something in me. Something that needed to break. She looked around the room, making eye contact with every delegate. The Devourers expect us to face them like we faced the Concordium, with fleets and weapons and strategic formations. But Jack taught me something: the most powerful weapon against those who feed on suffering is to refuse to suffer properly. What does that even mean? Thorne demanded. It means, I said, we're going to face existential terror with dad jokes and cat videos. The room erupted in arguments. Some called us insane. Others pointed out that insane had worked before. The cats, meanwhile, had discovered the holographic display and were batting at the Devourer formations like they were cosmic laser pointers. Enough! Stella's voice rang out like crystal bells. Look at them! Everyone turned to see Shadow methodically attacking a holographic devourer, completely unimpressed by its world-ending capabilities. The cats don't care that these entities could destroy the galaxy, Stella continued. They see a red dot and they attack. No fear, no hesitation, just purpose. Are you suggesting we be more like cats? Thorne asked incredulously. I'm suggesting, I said, that we stop overthinking and start being. The Devourers are coming whether we're ready or not. We can face them with fear, or we can face them as ourselves. Messy, weird, complicated selves who adopt predators as pets and fall in love with our enemies and make pancakes during governmental collapses. The vote was closer than I'd liked, but ultimately, the council agreed to what became known as the Absurdist Defense Protocol, or as I called it, Operation Cosmic Comedy. The first devourer arrived 2 weeks later. It manifested near Proxima Station, a writhing mass of darkness and hunger that made reality hiccup. The traditional defense fleet engaged immediately, firing everything they had. The devourer ate it all and grew larger. "Phase 2, Admiral Thorne ordered, his voice tight. That's when things got weird. Every ship in the fleet started broadcasting. Not weapons frequencies or shield harmonics, but content. Music, comedy routines,